Hi everyone, I believe I am live here. Facebook is always a little hard to tell if you're live, but I believe I am live here, and I'm coming to you with not Appy Hour today. I'm coming to you today with a Tech Talk, and this is the first time that we are offering a Tech Talk on Facebook Live. Tech Talks are not new per se, but we haven't taught one since before everything happened with COVID. So in the past, when we were still offering in-person classes, which we're not currently, we did teach Tech Talks on a variety of topics, and they're just that. They're discussions on current tech discussions, topics of interest. So today I'm coming to you with Before You Buy a Computer or Phone. We've also called this Tech Talk Smart Tech Buying in the past. So I will get started with that right now. So we will still be offering Appy Hours a couple times a month, but we're also now going to be doing these Tech Talks. So here we go with Before You Buy a Computer or Phone. So before we get started here, I will say that my name is Jackie, and I am the tech librarian at Heights Libraries. I have been presenting Appy Hour programs as well as my coworker Anne, my fabulous coworker Anne. So you will continue to hear from us presenting Appy Hours and also these tech talks on different subjects. If you have any ideas for a tech talk or something of interest, like a current technology topic, go ahead and drop them in the comments section on this Facebook Live, or if you have any questions or general comments, go ahead and do that. Anne today is going to be trying to answer questions and keep up with that section. So please participate if you have something to say. So with buying a new device, it's basically a big decision, and I think that it feels a little often confusing. There's a lot of choices available, and there's unclear terminology on product descriptions. It's sometimes hard to even know what to buy. So this Tech Talk, I'm going to provide you with information on things to consider when making a smart tech buying decision. So the first thing to consider, which is really just going back to basics here, is what kind of device do you want? What kind of device do you need? So on the screen right now, I have a picture of a desktop computer, which does have a monitor, a keyboard, a mouse, and a tower. It's not portable, or at least not easily portable. It's intended to, just stay in one place on the desk. On the right-hand side, I have a laptop. These devices are really best for if you have a need to do things like word processing, like schoolwork or gaming, or if you're using Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel a lot, then you probably want to consider a desktop or a laptop. I will say, if it were me, it kind of depends on what you're doing. Unless you're having to do something that requires a lot of power, I'd consider a laptop. They are portable, so you can take it with you. There's also some very lightweight options out there now, so you might find that a laptop is your best bet if you do need to use it for schoolwork, a lot of word processing, spreadsheets, that sort of thing. So next up here is the option of a tablet or a smartphone. So if you don't think that a desktop or a laptop are for you, consider a tablet or a smartphone. Tablets are mobile computers. They're larger than smartphones. It's the bigger device on our screen right now, and it's smaller than a laptop. They are flat, so they're not going to fold like a laptop would. They're very generally lightweight, generally pretty inexpensive. Another advantage is you don't need to have a contract with a phone carrier. You can have a tablet that just operates on Wi-Fi. So that's something to consider as well with a tablet. So a smartphone, it's a mobile phone, but it's really built like a computer, and it operates with touchscreen. Tablets do as well. They operate with touchscreen, so you're not going to have a mouse with a tablet or a smartphone. So they're a phone, but they do have more functions like internet connectivity, and they serve as mini computers. They're not great for everything, smartphones. Like reading an ebook on a smartphone would be tough because that screen is really small. Typing a long document, again, would be tough on a smartphone because that screen and your keyboard is so small. Completing online applications, again, it'll be a challenge on a smartphone. So if you need to do those things regularly, you would perhaps want to consider a laptop or a tablet. Now, in terms of typing documents or completing online applications, if you have a tablet, there are accessories available, and one accessory that you can inexpensively buy is a keyboard. So you can have a keyboard attachment to a tablet, and that would help you be able to do things where you need to type, so you're not having to use the touchscreen keyboard. So things to consider there. Next question here is, do you want an Apple or an Android device? Terms like iPad and iPhone have become generic names for tablets, kind of like Kleenex for tissues or Band-Aids for bandages. However, not all tablets are iPads and not all smartphones are iPhones. There's two main operating systems, iOS, which is made by Apple, and Android, which and Android devices, they're made by a variety of companies, including Samsung, HTC, LG, but the operating system is made by Google. So Android, that operating system is made by Google. You can kind of think of this distinction between like a Mac and a Windows computer. They're going to be different brands. They're going to, both are like a tablet, but they're going to run differently. Their interfaces are going to look a bit different. So, something to consider when you are buying these devices. It's a little hard to get in the stores right now, but if you want to pop into a store quickly, you could take a look at an Android or an iPhone. Maybe a friend has one and you could look at theirs, from a safe distance away from that person. So you get a feel for how the device operates, because really you don't want to end up with something that you just dislike. Now, there may be a learning curve if you buy an iPhone and you've never used an iOS device. There may be a bit of a learning curve on how to use it. The third type of device here is a Kindle Fire. So Kindle Fires, these are tablets and they're made by Amazon. They basically run on a limited version of Android. And you have to buy apps from the Amazon App Store, which is more limited than the selection on Google Play. I would say get a Kindle Fire if you really want to have the most seamless access to Kindle books. But otherwise, maybe consider an iOS or an Android tablet. So which one should you buy? Well, it's up to you, really, because it's like anything in life. It's a brand. They're going to have pros and cons. They're going to operate a little bit differently. There's lots of loyal iOS Apple fans out there. There's lots of loyal Android fans out there. Androids tend to be a bit more cost savings. They're not as expensive, but there's a lot of people who love Apple devices as well. So it's really up to you. Like I said, probably the best bet is, if you're not sure if you can get access, just to try to use one or both. That'll give you a feel for them. If you're on an Android and you're really comfortable with it and it works for you, there's not really a reason to go to Apple unless you have a good reason. Just because your best friend says it's the best thing in the world, it might not be the best thing for you if it just is a really hard transition and you don't know how to use it and you're just happy with Android. So like anything, it's a decision that you got to make and kind of weigh your pros and cons. All right, so here's one of my favorite slides of this presentation, and I know I'm showing you a table, but this is a good one. These Tech Talks are recorded and are going to be available after we're finished here today. It's also available on YouTube, so you might want to come back to this and just maybe take a screenshot or take a look at it later, because this is like your minimum specs when you're buying a device. What are your minimum specs? You can see the specifications for buying a device. If you're looking at a product online, you can dig a little bit on that product listing and you can see the specifications. Also in stores, if they don't have it out, say I want to see the more in-depth specs for this device, because it is important what you're buying. So when we say storage here, we're talking about hard drive. And hard drive is your long-term storage. So that's how many files you can save on your computer. So how many Word documents, how many pictures, how many pieces of music. That's your storage, your hard drive. We're saying for a desktop or a computer, laptop, minimum 250 gigabytes. I'm seeing a lot of laptops that are selling 1 terabyte, which is a very large amount of hard drive, and that's fine if that's what you're getting and it's a decent price. That's fine. Not most people won't need that amount of space. So the one that I am much more concerned about is your RAM. So RAM is your temporary storage on a device, and just to get right down to it, the more RAM you have, the faster your computer and the programs on your computer are going to run. So more RAM, faster. So I say a minimum of 8 gigabytes. If you can get more than that, excellent. I would not buy anything less than 8 gigabytes. And Anna and I and the other tech trainers have seen this in practice. Before COVID, we would get a lot of people coming in for individual computers, individual help sessions for devices. And a lot of people were coming in with laptops that had, not very frequently 2 gigabytes, thank goodness, but 4 gigabytes. And their complaint was, this computer runs so slow. And when we would look at the specifications on it in the settings, we would say, well, it has 4 gigabytes of storage, and that just means that it's harder for multiple programs to run at the same time and for things to run faster. So unfortunately, there isn't much of a fix for that unless you have a device that you can add more RAM. But I'm kind of getting off on a tangent here. So I won't go through all of this on here. Maybe I'll just go through the first 2 lines. So for a desktop and a computer, a desktop computer or a laptop, hard drive 250 gigabytes, RAM 8 gigabytes, a tablet minimum of 32 gigabytes storage, RAM 2 gigabytes, and a smartphone minimum of 32 gigabytes storage and 2 gigabytes of RAM. It is less for the tablets and the smartphone, but remember, with RAM, more is better. So I would say if you want to invest in something, spend your money on RAM just across the board because it'll run faster. All right, so other things to consider. One is the age of a device you're buying. In general, if you're buying new, what the store is providing will be, fairly, it should be current and recent. If you're buying something refurbished or something used from a store, I would consider the age of the device. Tablets and smartphones have a 2 to 3 year lifespan. This is due to operating system support, so devices get to a point where they can't be updated anymore, those sorts of things as they get older. So things are kind of no longer updatable and kind of useless to you at that point. Laptops usually last 4 to 5 years and desktops 5+ years. I will say, no matter what type of device you're considering, do some online research just to check the date that the operating system was first released. So an older operating system may not be supported by the manufacturer anymore, and it may run slowly. So you may not be getting updates on older devices, and it might run slowly. So just do a bit of research. Like if you know that the device is running on Android Oreo, just Google Android or Oreo, and you're going to see when that version of Android was released. It'll be right there for you. It's going to be obvious. So if it's several years old, buyer beware. That is an older device at this point. Other thing, which I already touched on, is storage. In general, if you can spend a bit more money on a device, spend it on RAM. That's my advice. More RAM, your device and programs run faster. That might be too, you buy less hard drive space. So you decide to get a computer with 250 gigabytes of hard drive, but you're splurging for 16 gigabytes of RAM. That might work fine for you. It depends on your needs. If you are just storing some Word documents and some personal photos, you don't need a huge amount of hard drive space. You don't. 250 gigabytes or 500 gigabytes will serve your needs. So that's my sales pitch today is splurge on RAM. Another thing is when you're considering any device, just go ahead and look at the specifications, look at pictures of the device or the device itself, and think about what ports does it have. On a laptop and a PC, you do want at least one USB flash drive port and an HDMI out for video if you ever need to use that. I personally would want more than one, port for USB. So, but make sure it has at least one, I would say. With a smartphone, it doesn't generally have as many ports. A lot of smartphones these days are not coming equipped with a headphone jack. So think about if that's important to you, and then pay attention to see if the phone that you are interested in buying does have that headphone port. Another thing is screen size. It's an important decision when buying a laptop, tablet, or smartphone. How portable do you want the device to be? A larger screen is easier to view, and that might be your priority. If it's a larger screen, it's going to be easier to view. It will be bulkier and less portable. So this is, again, weighing the pros and cons and what's important to you. So that's screen size. Yeah, so another one is weight. And this is less of a concern with smartphones and tablets. They come in some pretty standard sizes. They don't weigh a lot. I will say with a smartphone, they're selling some XL versions, so just some bigger versions of them. Again, you get a bigger size, but consider can I fit it in my pocket? Is that important to me? Does it fit in my purse? Is that important to me? So that's what I would say in terms of smartphones. With laptops though, look at those specifications, see how much it weighs. Transporting a heavy laptop will be like a literal pain in the neck. And I think a heavy laptop is probably 4.5 pounds plus, 5 pounds plus. I just helped a relative purchase a laptop, and we were able to buy him a fairly inexpensive laptop that was 3.5 pounds. So that's nice, and that's lighter, that's easier to carry. Those bulky laptops are tough, so think about that too. And in general, buyer beware, because there's some really inexpensively priced tablets, laptops, and other devices on the market in big box stores. But my message here is look at those specifications, be a smart buyer. Because just because it's inexpensive, it doesn't mean it's going to meet your needs, and it doesn't mean it's going to just drive you crazy. So an example is this laptop is priced at $150, but it only has 2 gigabytes of RAM. I can tell you that laptop will struggle to run. Programs more and more need more RAM to run. So really I would say a 2 gigabyte laptop you're going to have to run one program at a time. Like you could have Google Chrome open and not much else, and it'll run slowly. So look at those specifications, look back on the table I provided, and make a good decision. Figure out what's important to you, and that can help you reduce cost. In terms of maybe you don't want as much hard drive space, but you spend that money on RAM. So buyer beware of those great deals. So the last thing I'm going to just quickly talk about here is another great resource is to read tech reviews. There's a lot of different sources out there, and they have very accessible articles like the best lightweight laptops of 2020, and you can read articles, that sort of thing. They'll have articles on things to consider when buying tech devices. So we've just listed a few different resources here. One is CNET, Wirecutter from the New York Times, Consumer Reports. That's not a free service, but if you go through the library's website, that's my insider tip, we provide access to Consumer Reports for free. So you could research computers or washing machines for free on going through heightslibrary.org. So take advantage of that. Also, PC Magazine is a great resource as well for reading some of those reviews, those tech reviews. And you'll find them on laptops, smartphones, tablets, all kinds of tech on there, headphones. So these are just great resources. You'll also see reviews of different accessories. So highly recommend reading reviews. Okay, so other thing, if you're just interested in technology or want to kind of know more about tech news and trends, these are some resources that you can look at online. So Gizmodo, that's an online magazine, provides articles related to technology, design, and social trends. Engadget is a multilingual technology blog network. Provides daily coverage of gadgets and consumer electronics. Mashable is a media company, and they say they're, the voice of the connected generation and digital culture. The Verge, it's an American technology news and media network. It's owned and operated by Vox Media. So they're going to publish news items, feature stories, guidebooks, product reviews, and podcasts. So that was The Verge. Okay, so another thing to consider is when to buy. Different times of year may be a better time to buy a device. Like, to purchase a new phone, try to wait until September or later, because Apple and Google typically release their newest devices in September and October. So that means their newest devices will be released in September and October if you want to buy the newest device. If you want to buy, what is now the older device, like one, release back, those will also be reduced in price when the new one comes out. So keep that in mind. Holiday sales later in the year can be another thing to hold out for. You might find a good sale price with holiday sales or after holiday sales. So these are a few events that happen throughout the year. They're major technology industry events, but when they're happening, like the Apple event is always, you can see it live. It'll be streamed by Apple. You can also see news articles of what was announced, at these different events. Like the one that's up right now is the Consumer Electronics Show, which happens in January every year. It's an annual trade show, and it's organized by the Consumer Technology Association. So this is where tech gadgets are often announced. Even if you're just doing this for fun, it can be kind of interesting to keep up with these different events and announcements. The next one is the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. It's the largest mobile event in the world, so it'll bring together latest innovations and leading edge technology from like 2,400 companies. So this is where smartphone manufacturers, other than Apple, Samsung, and Google, often announce their latest devices. Another one is South by Southwest. This happens in Austin every year. So Google will announce things, Google hardware in October. I'm just going to list a few of these others here. There's quite a few, so you can kind of look up some of these as you go. IFA, this one happens in September in Berlin, Germany. This is where tech gadgets that weren't ready for the Consumer Electronics Show are generally announced. Apple, their event is in September every year, and they will announce the new generation of iPhones and other hardware that they're releasing. Like I said, Google in October. Sorry, let me see if I can go back there. There we go. So just keep that on the screen for one more moment so you can see those. So even if you're just doing this for fun, it is fun to see the different releases and what's coming out of these big tech events every year. And the last thing here is just any questions or comments. I'm happy to answer anything. Like I said, these Tech Talks and the Happy Hour programs, they end up being archived after the event each time. So you will be able to see them back on the library's Facebook page. And they also get put up on YouTube. So you can find them on the library's YouTube channel as well. So, yes, happy to answer any questions. And I think I will sign off here. I see we still have a few people on, but thank you for listening today. If you ever have any suggestions or questions, you can contact the library. We are here, can talk on the phone, have some limited services open right now. So thank you all for joining in today, and I hope that this Tech Talk was helpful to you. All right, have a good afternoon. Bye.